Welcome back to Health Talk 366. I'm your host, and this is Mind Masters, the podcast dedicated to helping you optimize your brain, boost your productivity, and live a more focused life. Today we're diving into a topic that affects every single one of us: memory. We've all been there. You walk into a room, and poof, the reason you went in is gone. You're at the grocery store and forget the one item you desperately needed. You meet someone new, and their name vanishes the second they say it. It's frustrating, right? But what if I told you that your memory isn't a fixed, unchangeable trait? What if you could train it, sharpen it, and make it more reliable? That's exactly what we're talking about today. In this episode, I'm going to demystify memory, break down the science behind it, and give you a toolbox of practical, proven techniques you can start using today to build a better brain. We'll cover everything from simple lifestyle changes to powerful mnemonic devices used by memory champions. This is not just a bunch of tips. It's a deep dive into the art and science of remembering. So whether you're a student cramming for an exam, a professional trying to remember names and facts, or just someone who wants to stop losing their keys, this episode is for you. Just a quick note, the information I'm sharing today is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you have concerns about memory loss, please consult a healthcare professional. Let's get started. Part 1. The science of memory. Right. Before we get to the how-to, let's talk about the how. How does memory actually work? Think of your brain like a massive interconnected network. Information doesn't just magically stick. It goes through a process. We can break this process down into three main stages: encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is the first step. This is when your brain takes in new information, like the name of that new person, you just meet him, converts it into a format it can store. This is a critical first step. If the information isn't encoded properly, you can never retrieve it later. It's like trying to save a file on your computer without giving it a name or a location. Then comes storage. This is where your brain holds on to the information over time, from a few seconds to a lifetime. Your brain is a vast storage unit with different types of memory. And finally, retrieval. This is the process of getting that information back out when you need it. Think of it as a search engine for your brain. You type in a query, and your brain tries to pull up the relevant file. Forgetting isn't just about losing information. Often, it's a retrieval failure. The information is still there. You just can't find the path to it. Now, let's talk about the different types of memory. This is really cool because your brain has multiple systems working at once. First, you have sensory memory. This is super fleeting. It's the instant, unfiltered impression of sensory information, the flash of a lightning bolt, the smell of coffee. It lasts for less than a second. Next up is short-term memory or working memory. This is what you're using right now to follow my conversation. It's your brain's temporary notepad, its active workspace. It can only hold a small amount of information, typically around 7 items, for about 20 to 30 seconds. This is why you can remember a phone number as you're dialing it, but forget it immediately after. And finally, it's the big one: long-term memory. This is your brain's hard drive. It has a virtually unlimited capacity to store information for long periods. But even within long-term memory, there are different categories. You have explicit memory, which is conscious memory. It's what you can intentionally recall. Explicit memory has two subtypes: semantic memory, which is your store of general facts and knowledge, like knowing the capital of France is Paris; and episodic memory, which is your personal life story, like remembering your last birthday party. Then there's implicit memory, which is unconscious memory. This is your knowledge of skills and habits. It's why you can ride a bike or type on a keyboard without thinking about the individual steps. This is also known as procedural memory. So when we talk about improving memory, we're really focusing on strengthening the encoding and retrieval processes, especially for moving information from short-term to long-term memory. Part 2. Lifestyle. Habits for a sharper mind. Let's start with the foundation. You can't build a skyscraper on a weak foundation, and you can't build a powerful memory on poor lifestyle habits. These are the non-negotiable S. The first and most critical one is sleep. You might think your brain shuts down when you sleep, but it's actually working overtime. Sleep is when your brain cleans house and, more importantly, consolidates memories. During deep sleep and REM sleep, the brain replays the day's events and moves information from the temporary storage of the hippocampus to the long-term storage in the neocortex. If you get a bad night's sleep, that process is disrupted, and you lose valuable information. It's like trying to save your work, but your computer shuts off halfway through, so aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. Have a consistent sleep schedule, make your room dark and cool, and avoid screens before bed. Your brain will thank you. Next up, nutrition. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ. It needs the right fuel. Think of it as the most sophisticated machine. On Earth, you wouldn't put junk fuel in a race car, so don't do it to your brain. A diet rich in omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and flavonoids is key. Think salmon, walnuts, blueberries, leafy greens like spinach and kale, and dark chocolate. These foods help protect your brain from damage and promote better communication between brain cells. The Mediterranean diet is a great model to follow. Third habit is exercise. You often think of exercise as just for our bodies, but it's a superpower for your brain. Physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, delivering vital oxygen and nutrients. It also promotes the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus, a process called neurogenesis. So, a brisk walk, a run, or even dancing for 30 minutes a day can significantly improve your memory and cognitive function. It's literally brain food in motion. And finally, stress management. Chronic stress is a memory killer. The stress hormone, cortisol, can damage the hippocampus and interfere with memory retrieval. So, find healthy ways to manage stress. This could be mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing exercises, or spending time in nature. Even 5 minutes of quiet, focused breathing can help calm your nervous system and protect your brain. Part 3. Practical memory techniques. Now for the fun part, the tools and techniques. These are the mental hacks that can supercharge your memory. Let's start with mnemonics. A mnemonic is a memory aid that helps you remember information. They work by creating strong, vivid, and often bizarre connections in your mind. The most famous mnemonic is the method of loci, or the memory palace. This is a technique used by ancient Greek orators and modern-day memory champions. Here's how it works. Step 1. Choose a familiar location, like your home, your office, or your daily commute route. This is your palace. It needs to be a place you can visualize easily in detail. Step 2. Identify a series of specific, distinct locations or loci within that palace in a fixed order. For example, your front door, the coat rack, the kitchen counter, the refrigerator, the living room couch, and so on. Step 3. To remember a list of items. You place a vivid, imaginative image of each item at one of those loci. For example, let's say you need to remember a grocery list: milk, eggs, bread, and bananas. You could visualize a giant carton of milk pouring all over your front door. Then, a giant chicken laying an egg on your coat rack. In your kitchen, you see a loaf of bread that looks like a monster chasing you across the counter. And finally, you see a huge bunch of bananas dangling from the living room ceiling fan. The weirder and more sensory-rich the image, the better. When you go to the store, you mentally walk through your palace, and the crazy images pop into your mind, retrieving the items on your list. This works because you are linking new information to a pre-existing, well-known spatial memory. Another powerful technique is chunking. Our short-term memory can only hold so much. Chunking involves grouping individual pieces of information into larger units. This is why phone numbers are grouped into 3-digit and 4-digit chunks. It's much easier to remember 5551212 than 5,551,212. Let's talk about spaced repetition. This is a game changer for learning. The forgetting curve shows that we forget information very quickly after learning it. Spaced repetition fights this. By reviewing information at increasing intervals, You review it after 1 day, then 3 days, then a week, then a month. This tells your brain that the information is important and needs to be moved into long-term storage. This is the core principle behind flashcard apps like Anki. It's far more effective than cramming, and my personal favorite, active recall. Instead of just rereading your notes or a textbook, you actively test yourself. After you read a paragraph, close the book and try to explain the concept in your own words. Or, if you're trying to remember someone's name, use it in conversation right away. It's great to meet you name. Then, later in the conversation, use it again. This forces your brain to retrieve the information. Rereading is passive. Active recall is a workout for your brain. Finally, use elaboration. Connect new information to what you already know. The more connections you make, the stronger the memory. If you're learning a new vocabulary word, think of a personal story or a vivid image associated with it. Don't just learn a fact in isolation. Weave it into your web of existing knowledge. Part 4. Brain-boosting activities and games you can also improve your memory by giving your brain a regular workout. Just like a muscle, it needs to be challenged to grow. One of the best things you can do is learn a new skill. It's learning a new language, a musical instrument, or even a complex dance style creates new neural pathways in your brain process called neuroplasticity. This is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new connections. Another great option is to engage in puzzles and games. Sudoku, crossword puzzles, jigsaw puzzles, chess, and even video games that require strategy. And problem solving can help keep your brain sharp. And don't underestimate the power of social interaction. Engaging with people, having conversations, and being part of a community are not just good for your mental health. They are great for your brain. Social activity stimulates cognitive function and reduces the risk of cognitive decline. So, in a nutshell, the rule is use it or lose it. Challenge your brain regularly. Don't let it get stuck in a rut of routine. Conclusions. Let's recap the key takeaways from today's episode. First, establish a solid foundation with lifestyle habits. Get enough sleep, eat a brain-healthy diet, engage in regular exercise, and manage stress. These are the pillars of a sharp mind. Second, arm yourself with powerful techniques. Use mnemonics like the Memory Palace to remember complex information. Employ chunking to simplify data. And embrace spaced repetition and active recall to make what you learn stick for the long term. And finally, keep your brain active by learning new skills and engaging in challenging activities. Improving your memory isn't about having a good or bad brain. It's about training a skill. It takes practice, but the payoff is immense. You'll feel more confident, more connected, and more in control of your own mind. I hope you feel empowered to start your journey to a better memory. Pick just one technique or habit from today's episode and try it for a week. See the difference it makes. That's all for this episode of Mind Masters from Health Talk 366. Thank you so much for listening. Join me next time as we explore a new topic to help you unlock your full potential. Till then, keep training your brain.